Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another video, and this is going to be a pretty quick one. When I'm recording the first part of this, it is very late uh, Saturday or early Sunday, depending on how you're looking at it. It's about 12:30 in the morning um, on October 23rd, 2016. And the topic of this video is why I'm moving back to Windows 7. Now, I've been using Windows 10 ever since it came out, a little more than a year now. And today I was working on some things, and it was just kind of the final straw for me for Windows 10. Now, I'm not abandoning Windows 10 altogether, and I know eventually I'm going to have to move back to Windows 10, but for the time being, I am retreating back to Windows 7, at least on my main computer. I have, as I've mentioned in some of my other videos, I have several computers in my house, and pretty much all of them are going to be running Windows 10 except for two now. So I'm not giving up on Windows 10, but on the two systems where I do the most, I am going to move back to Windows 7 for the time being because of the fact that really what I was doing today, it was very simple. I was going through some music files and listening to them in VLC, and they were in different folders. And one behavior I noticed on Windows 10, at least in my computer, is very often it as I'm playing the different files in VLC in different folders, um, uh, it'll lock up Windows Explorer, and I'll have to go to Task Manager and restart Windows Explorer, log off, log back in, then the system responds again. And really, that's ridiculous. VLC is a mainstream program, should work completely fine. This should not happen. And also, Microsoft just makes a lot of changes to Windows 10 all the time. They're always having really large releases that are like service packs, and they do it pretty often. They just recently had one called the Anniversary Update. They have another one coming up in March. Basically a new release of Windows 10 is coming up in March. So they have really big changes in Windows 10 very often. So for me, it's just this frenetic pace of updates and the fact that it causes issues with a lot of applications. It's just not worth it for me right now to stay on Windows 10 on my main machine. Now, I do know that eventually I'm going to have to move to Windows 10 on this computer because Windows 7 is only going to be supported until 2020. And of course, software development, new applications will stop supporting Windows 7 at some point in the future. So I realize this is not a truly long-term solution, but what I can do is I can move back to Windows 7 for the time being on my main system just for stability purposes and just stick with it until 2020 at least. I think I will probably stay on it for that amount of time. This is just part one of this video I'm recording. I will be recording part two probably tomorrow after I've had a chance to get Windows 7 installed, install my normal applications, all that stuff, and live in it a little bit again and see if that it actually does help. Because really, even more than a year after Windows 10 is out, there's no must-have features of Windows 10. The Metro apps, for example. Does anyone give a remote shit about any of those? I don't think anybody does. Cortana, who cares? Let's see, what other features does Windows... Oh, the Edge browser that nobody likes. Right? That's a total piece of shit. So, really, there is nothing... I guess there is one thing, DirectX 12. That is Windows 10 exclusive, but if I have to give that up, that's fine. It's not like there's tons of games taking advantage of DirectX 12. And again, I always have the option to move forward to Windows 10 again. If there start to become must-have games that run DX12 that only run in Windows 10. Will I re-update this to Windows 10 at that point, my system? Yeah, because I've already upgraded to Windows 10 on this machine, so I can go back to Windows 7 and then re-upgrade it to Windows 10 any point in the future that I feel the urge. But for now, since I think Windows 10 is still in a beta state, or at least that's the way it feels sometimes, I'm just tired of it. I'm moving back to Windows 7. I have plenty of other computers in the house that run Windows 10, so plus my work laptop runs Windows 10, so I'll be able to keep up with Windows 10 very easily and see the development of the OS. But frankly, for my purposes, who cares about Windows 10? So anyway, that's it. I'm going to do a few things, then go to bed, and I will probably pick this up at some point tomorrow. So see you guys in a little bit. Okay, guys, here I am on Sunday night. It's about 9:30 at night. I spent a pretty good chunk of the day fiddling with my computer. When I came to check on my computer in the morning, Windows 7 had not updated. This is a very common problem with Windows 7. I spent a few hours actually trying to get the updates to start flowing into Windows 7. I was not successful in doing that. And then I rebooted my PC, and I got a thermal warning about the CPU. And I'm like, this can't be good. I've never gotten a thermal warning on this computer ever about anything. So I downloaded some tools to basically tell me how hot the CPU was running. It was running between 90 and 100 C, which is pretty high for a CPU. It's not extreme, but it's definitely higher than what you typically want to run a CPU at. So I'm like, okay, this is an issue. So I compared that. I checked my other Windows 7 box. Now, granted, it's a completely different processor architecture, and it's a 5-year-old processor. But I was like, okay, what's maybe the norm for it to run? And my other Windows 7 processor, or it's an AMD instead of an Intel, but again, it will at least give me an idea of range. My other box was running at about 43 to 45 C, so about half of what this one was running. And I'm like, yes. This is probably not good. I did some looking online about my processor, which is the i7-4790K, and it's not supposed to run at like 90 to 100 C. I mean, it can, it probably won't hurt it, but it's not supposed to run that hot. So, I'm thinking Windows 7 is the culprit for this, right? Because as long as I've been using this PC, this is literally has never happened. So I'm like, okay, something funny is going on with Windows 7. I guess I'm going to have to go back to Windows 10. So I'm like, great. So I make another bootable USB stick for Windows 10, put it in, do the install for Windows 10, and I decide to monitor the CPU temperature in Windows 10 as well, of course, at this point, since I wanted to make sure that switching the OS again would actually resolve the issue, because who wants to cook their CPU, right? So I put Windows 10 back on, and what I noticed is when the system was doing a lot of updates, right, and in program installs, it would run hot in Windows 10 as well. It would run 90 to 100 C. But as soon as that Windows update completed and everything was peachy keen, right, and all the updates were done, all the program installs were done, it would run about 43 to 45 C, maybe clipping as high as 50, but never going real high. So I'm like, okay, this is bad design on Microsoft's part, I'm guessing. What's interesting, though, is if you actually look at the CPU utilization in the task manager, it's not particularly high when you are installing Windows updates. So go figure. It's just a you know, it's just one of those things. It's whatever. It's bad Microsoft design, I guess. Whatever. And the funny thing is, since this happened, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try to make Windows 10 work. I'm just going to try it, since I didn't really feel like installing Windows 7 again just to go back to it. I'm not that much of a protester. It was really just the whole reason I was even going through with it in the first place is I thought it might solve some of my issues. So I install VLC again on Windows 10, and I've also reinstalled some webcam software that previously did not work after the anniversary update. And by the way, I of course do have the anniversary update and all updates installed, so my system is currently fully up to date, fully patched on the current version, and everything works swimmingly. Everything works completely fine. There's no problem with any applications whatsoever in my system. Same exact hardware, same exact software. Now it works perfectly fine. Windows Explorer doesn't crash when I play different files. Webcam software works exactly the way it's supposed to. Everything just works. Yeah, I don't have an answer for this, guys. It's pretty maddening. But at least now I know the fix. If this happens again, I'll just have to do another clean install of Windows 10. I guess it's slightly better than what I went through before, but it's still, you know, hardly what I call an ideal situation. So, if all of my applications didn't rely on Windows, I would definitely give it up. But so much of what I use only runs in Windows and there aren't Linux equivalents for it. And I'm certainly not going to spend the money on a Mac. I'm pretty much stuck with Windows. So that, and you know, in some of my other videos, I've talked about how I think Linux lacks polish in a lot of ways, and I still think that. So, but then again, Microsoft makes some really stupid decisions as well. So what's the moral of this? No software is perfect. Find what works for you. If you did manage to make it through this video, I really appreciate it. Thanks. You know, I just want to say thanks a whole lot for watching. If you did like what you see, as always, please thumbs up, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thanks a whole lot for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.